Right, so we're just going to have a look at two of the subjects in this one. We're just going to have a look at clearance and anticipation, yeah?
Yep.
What's your interpretation of anticipation?
If I could put it like into a practical sense, it would be as if you take roundabouts, for instance, it would be going when the first chance comes up, when the first safe chance arises, and not waiting. I suppose it's about hesitation.
Not really. If you think about it, really, I couldn't drive from here to the end of the road without anticipating, really, yeah?
Yeah.
Anticipation is always going to link into mirrors.
Yep.
It's anticipation of other road users, pedestrians, cyclists, yeah?
Yep.
And even if we don't meet a cyclist, we need to get a question in there about what if
Yeah.
I had a cyclist ahead of me and he looked over his right shoulder, what would I do? Well, the answer should be, I'll check my mirror and I'd hold back. Why? Because he's probably just about to turn in front of me, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm trying to anticipate what somebody's doing before they've done it, yeah?
Yeah.
It would be anticipation, especially of pedestrians as well.
Mm-hmm.
But it wouldn't be, you wouldn't need to be quizzing me on pedestrians who are not a problem to me, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
But pedestrians who are...
Like look like they might be looking to cross the road.
Yeah, they might not make eye contact with me. They might be very close to the edge of the curb.
Yep.
Yeah?
Yep.
And obviously anticipation of other road users.
Yeah.
Yeah? So we're going to do the clearance and anticipation. We'll leave the meeting and the overtaking out for the moment, yeah?
Okay.
So with the clearance, you could probably be proactive with that.
Yep.
And get me to stop in the very early stages, just before we get to a vehicle ahead of us, and get me to pick a reference point up, yeah? Which is going to be a reference point to keep me a metre from that,
So tyres on the ground.
yeah,
Yep.
from that parked car, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And then that makes it a little bit easier for you then, because if I do start to wander in a bit close, you would obviously have to deal with it and say, move away. You know, what's the distance you should be from a parked car?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, a metre. And how are you judging that? Oh, I'm using that reference point that you gave me, yeah? So because you have given me a reference point, then obviously you've kind of got a stick to come and beat me over the head with, yeah?
Yeah, to make sure you're doing it.
But it's very important, just because we picked up the reference point, that you don't forget about it.
Yep.
I always think it's a good idea now and again when we're driving along normally. And how are you judging your position with these parked cars, Tony? Oh, I'm using that reference point you gave me, Clark, yeah?
So you talk about parked cars that will say be parked on the left.
Yeah.
Okay. And what is the reference point for working out the metre distance?
That's a reference point that I'll pick, yeah? Do you remember what I said to you last week on the overview, on the follow through and emerging, is that it's important not to give a reference point. It's important to let them pick a reference point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So to pick a reference point for clearance, we'd have to find a quiet road, and you'd have to stop me in a position where I'm going to clear the parked car ahead with at least a metre.
Yep.
And get me to pick a reference point.
Yep.
That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
Well, have a look at that. Right, so if you just tell me to set myself up.
All right, Johnny. So if you just want to get yourself comfortable, set yourself up in the car.
All right.
And what can you see in your mirror there?
Oh, I can square the back window, and I can see the bit of my head restraint and a bit of yours.
Excellent. And what about your right mirror?
I can see 2 finger widths, and the hedge comes in about halfway up the mirror.
Right.
The same with that one.
Perfect. Okay.
So we're going to turn right out of the parking bay,
So we'll turn right out the parking bay,
and we're going to turn left at the T-junction.
and we'll turn left at the T-junction. steer towards me.
To me.
To you.
Steer towards you and straighten up.
Steer
Stop.
towards you and straighten up and stop.
Right, you can ask me where the outer tyre of that first car ahead comes into the car.
So the outer tyre of the first car here, where does that come into the car?
Oh, just about there.
Okay.
That's your reference point for...
So that's your reference point for knowing you're a metre away
Right.
when you're passing the car.
And why is that important?
And why is that important?
I'm not too sure.
Okay. Well, it's important that we don't go too close to the car, because what if there's someone in the car and they open the door to get out?
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah.
Out of the door, wasn't it?
Yeah. So we could...
Any other reasons? What could walk out from behind that?
Sure, yeah. There could be children who are playing around the area,
Yeah.
who could walk out in front of the car. You can't see them because they'll probably be below the car line,
Yeah.
because obviously they're kids, and they'll walk straight out. You're not going to have any time to react because you're too close. You're not going to see.
Yeah. So I must never go closer to a car than a metre.
So yeah. Well, it's not a rule that's set in stone. Sometimes you might not have any choice.
Oh, sometimes I might have to go closer.
Sometimes you might have to go closer.
Am I going to turn left? Please?
And we'll turn left here, please.
Yeah, so you can't just make a bold statement like that and leave it.
Yeah, so I'd probably continue on to say that, you know, in circumstances where you have to go closer, you'd go much more slowly,
Okay.
and you'd probably go at a walking pace.
Well, the speed is appropriate. So it would be less space, less speed, yeah?
Okay, so yeah, the less space you have to use, the slower you go.
Because if I've got less speed, I can stop quicker, couldn't I?
Yes,
Yeah?
that's right.
Well, I can stop sooner, yeah?
Yeah,
That makes sense?
yeah. That would obviously give you more time to react to
Yeah.
kids coming out in front of the car.
And at the roundabout, we're going to turn left.
And at the roundabout, we'll turn left.
And we're going to take the next turning to the left, please, Clark.
And we'll take the next turning to the left, please, Tony.
Could have mentioned him there, why?
Yeah, because he was looking to cross the road and he steered towards the pram towards the...
The buggy actually came out onto the
Yeah.
road. Was pointing out towards the road first, wasn't it?
Yep.
And then he pulled it back in again, yeah? So just get in with a question now. So how are you judging your position with these parked cars, Tony?
So how are you judging your position with these cars here?
I've got to stay a metre away, I'm not.
Yeah, and how are you staying a metre away?
Oh, I'm using that reference point.
Excellent, good.
And why is it?
Why is it important to keep a metre away?
Oh, didn't you say if somebody opened the door, I don't want to take the door off, do I?
Yeah, and what else? You're right, you're right. What else could happen?
I suppose pedestrians, especially kiddies, could walk out
Yep.
behind these cars, couldn't they?
Yeah, yeah.
And just a little bit more detail there. And what if it wasn't possible to give a metre from the parked cars, Tony?
So what would you do if you couldn't give a metre, if it wasn't there?
Oh, I'd have to use less speed, wouldn't I?
You would use less speed, yeah. And why would you use less speed?
Well, because I'm going to be closer to the car, then I need to be able to stop if somebody does open the door or somebody walks out from behind it,
Yeah,
don't they?
that's right.
Yeah?
Yep.
So if you actually ask questions like that,
Yeah,
you might well find out they're not going to play around with it, yeah?
yeah.
Now we're going to turn left.
I will turn left here, please.
I can see why they call that company Ups. That's probably what he thought when he parked there, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Now we're going to turn left.
I will turn left here, please.
So again, we could be talking. We're covering clearance and anticipation, aren't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we've just seen a cyclist go the other way,
Yep.
and with the Olympics just being on, it's very possible we are going to meet a cyclist today.
Yeah.
I've never seen as many cyclists out this week, but
It's
we
been
might.
inspiring people.
But we might not. So
Yeah.
you could ask me a good question.
I can ask you a question about what you do if you meet a cyclist on the road.
Yeah.
Okay, so what would you do if you met a cyclist travelling in this direction now on our side of the
Oh,
road?
no, we're taking.
Okay, and how would you do that?
Check my mirrors. Go around him.
Okay. What about if you're going along and the cyclist looks over his shoulder towards you?
Oh yeah. I've had it happen a couple of times. Then he always turned right in front of me.
Well, they could be, couldn't they? So what would
Yeah.
you do if he looked over the shoulder and he was trying to get eye contact with you?
I'd hold back, wouldn't I?
Yeah. Why would you hold back?
In case he turned.
Yeah. You don't want to hit him, do you?
Yeah. So was that answer correct?
Which answer?
The answer I gave you. I said to you I'd hold back. What should I have said before that?
Check your mirrors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anticipation,
Mirrors.
always
Yeah.
tie into mirrors, yeah?
Yeah. I suppose it's like you're anticipating a hazard, and if you did see a hazard,
Yeah.
you'd always check your mirror first,
Exactly.
wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I want you to try and do is I want you to try and be proactive with the clearance. Because don't
Okay.
forget, it's not only clearance to the sides,
Yeah.
it's clearance ahead.
Okay.
And to a certain extent, it's clearance behind me, yeah?
Yeah.
If that BMW behind me was very, very close to me,
Yeah.
then the 2-second rule wouldn't really work that well for me, yeah?
No, it wouldn't. So I could ask you, if you do ever have cars travelling very closely behind you.
Right, so have a look ahead, and obviously we're going to come up behind the car eventually, yeah?
Yep.
But what I'd like you to try and do is to stop me playing around with it
Yep.
and get in there nice and early with the question.
Okay.
You know, how far back are you going to stay from that car in front, yeah?
Okay. So if there was a car ahead
Yeah,
of us
yeah,
now-
we haven't got one yet,
Okay.
but we will have.
Okay.
And obviously we don't need to invent this one because we know we're going to come up behind the car.
Yeah. Okay. So given the subject that we're covering, could I ask questions about, when you stop behind a vehicle at a set of traffic lights or a junction, how do you know how far back to stop from the car in front?
Could do,
Could I
yeah.
introduce that now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And turning right.
And we'll turn right here, please, Tony.
You can either let it happen and be reactive.
Yeah. So I could pick up the clearance on that car there, couldn't I? Just because we had to go around a little bit, and even the next one maybe.
Ask me a question.
Okay. So Tony, we're approaching the car now. How do you know that you're going to be a metre away?
Oh, using that reference point.
Yeah, excellent. Why do we want to make sure we're always a metre away?
Oh, in case they open that door, isn't it?
Yeah, or a pedestrian walks out behind like a kiddie.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can't see.
Give me a chance to answer the question. Yeah.
Okay.
Look, you let me answer part of the question, and then you give me the second
Yeah.
part. So by me answering the question fully,
Mhm.
then you know that I know. Yeah.
Yeah. So what else could it be, Tony? From why else do we keep a metre away?
Oh, pedestrians, isn't it? They might
Yeah.
walk out behind a car, especially kiddies.
That's it.
Isn't it? And we're going to turn right.
And we'll turn right here.
Not a good question is to ask, is that?
Would I ask you a question when you're rolling into a junction like this, or would I let you kind of do what you're doing, and then maybe crack on with a question when you've got a little bit less going on?
So, remember what I said to you last week is that it mightn't look like a there, but I can actually deal with emerging, yeah?
Yeah. So can I assume I can continue talking to you?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. So then I'd move on and say, Tony, in the instance where we don't get a full metre clearance, obviously, we're going to have to go closer to the parked cars. What do we do in that instance? How do you deal with that?
Oh, I need less speed, don't I? Less space, less speed.
Yeah. And why do we actually go slower past the cars when we're closer to them?
Well, if a door opens, I have to be able to stop, haven't I?
Yeah, you do. Yeah. And also, what else have you got there? Well, just apart from people just opening the door, what else could happen?
Oh, children walking out.
Yeah, exactly. And if we're much closer than a metre, you know, we need to be going pretty slow to be able to stop in time.
It's very hard to see.
Kids behind cars.
Yeah, I've had lines of parked cars, and it's very hard to see them.
Have you looked underneath the cars to see little legs walking about, footballs
No.
maybe rolling out? It's always a bit of a telltale sign.
Well, can I do that?
Of course you can. Stop and look underneath
Yeah,
cars.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good detail. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, you can always have a glance at the parked cars and see if there's anyone in them. See if any indicators or brake lights have recently turned off. Gives you an indication that someone's in the car and someone might be getting out.
Yeah. So you have actually got this detail in your head.
Yeah.
Just bring it out and use it.
Yeah, sure.
Because the stuff that you use for your, if you think about it, you used in your part 1 and used in your part 2,
Yep.
and you used in your many years of experience of
Yeah.
racing cars at 195 mile an hour around a racetrack. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mind you, not that you get many pedestrians crossing around here.
No.
Oh.
Kangaroo or two.
All right.
So I'm going to start with the car in front of us now. In this
Yeah.
condition, I'll start bringing in the anticipation and also the distance.
Yeah.
Okay. So starting with the car in front, how far can we travel from the car in front? What's a good safe distance?
Oh, so I don't hit it.
Yeah. Well, not just so you don't hit it, but so you're at a safe distance from the car there. Do you know like a way we can work out if we're too close?
No.
Okay. What we want to do is make sure that we're at least 2 seconds behind the vehicle in front.
All right.
Yeah. One way we can do that is we can count, obviously in time, to make sure we're 2 seconds at least from the vehicle in front of us. Yeah. So obviously you can count to 2, but it's about picking out a marker when the car travels past the marker, like a signpost, and then you can start counting to make sure by the time you get to the same
It's passing
sign.
a signpost now.
Yeah. So you could count in that time, and when you get to the signpost, you should have at least gone past 2 seconds and you're counting.
Now, what do I say? How do I count it?
1001, 2002. Is that how you do it?
Oh, I think I remember my brother saying about that. He said his instructor used to say only a fool breaks a 2 second rule.
Yeah, that's it. So I'm sure we'll get some opportunity shortly to try that out and count it out and see how we go.
So does that work on all type of roads then?
It won't work in every circumstance, but yeah, in general driving on these roads, on your motorways, and you know, it's gonna pretty much work the far majority of the time. If you're stuck in heavy traffic on motorways or in town centres, obviously you don't need to be 2 seconds behind the car, and we use the rule where if we're stopping, you know that when you stop behind other vehicles on the road, whether it be traffic lights or anything else, we make sure we can see where their back tyres touch the ground.
All right.
Yeah?
No, I meant you know, does it work in every road condition? Yeah, because when I ride my bike, it takes me a lot longer to stop on the snowy road. I keep falling off.
That's it. What I was about to go on at Sables there, Tony. In very good conditions, so like now, where the roads are dry, you've got good visibility, that's where the 2 second rule applies.
All right.
As soon as you're talking about rain, maybe even driving at night, just bad weather generally, you know, we need to increase that time from the vehicle in front, especially in conditions like fog, where you can't see in front of you very well.
So I suppose I can find out from Google or something how much I need to increase it by.
I don't know the exact term,
Okay.
so I haven't told you.
Right. I'll help you with that one then. If the roads are wet, I need twice as long to stop, don't I?
Yeah.
So I need to be able to say only a fool breaks a 2 second rule twice, yeah?
Yes.
Snow or ice ending up to 10 times.
Yeah. So double it for wet
Yeah,
and 10 times snow or ice.
yeah.
Okay, great. So we've got 2, 4, and 10, yeah?
Yeah.
Or 2, 4, and 20, isn't it? In terms of seconds.
No, 2, 4, and 10.
Oh, 10 seconds it is.
No, 10.
Is it
10
10
times
times?
as much, yeah.
So 20 seconds, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can see there where the vehicle's got his tyres on the ground in front.
All right.
Yep. So if you couldn't see them, because you'd have to be going like this, you're too close.
Right.
Yeah?
I actually could have gone up closer to him there.
Yeah.
But I didn't because you were actually talking about something that was quite important, so I didn't play you up there. Yeah.
Right.
But if we hadn't been talking, I would have gone.
Too close. Yeah, closer.
I would have gone right up his backside. Yeah.
Right. I wasn't sure if he was parked at first. He's very close to the curb, isn't he?
Yeah, it's because the lanes are very narrow. That's going to be a nice weekend.
Yeah, I brought this with me today. I thought it was going to be cold today. What's this morning?
Yeah, they're looking at 30 degrees tomorrow, aren't they?
Nice. So have you practiced doing the 2-second thing before to judge your gap? You haven't really had a good practice at that yet?
No, Bob's just been telling me, keep back a bit.
Alright, well look, we'll get a chance now to today to count out and make sure that we're at least that 2-second gap. We can even maybe practice it for 4 seconds as well for the times when it is raining. And it'll help you build up some references to how far back that actually is.
Alright.
Yeah.
So, just coming out a roll.
Yeah.
If you don't talk about the distance between you and the vehicle in front,
Yeah.
then obviously they are going to play around with it,
Yeah.
and you're going to have to deal with it afterwards, yeah?
Yeah.
And obviously it's very important to deal with it afterwards.
Yeah.
But if you can get in there early,
Yeah.
and you can see that we've got a vehicle coming up ahead of us, yeah?
Yeah.
If you can get in nice and early, then you're being proactive.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
then- And then you don't have to be reactive, yeah?
Yeah. So at least we've gone through the 2-second thing and we've gone through how to count it out properly.
Yeah.
So we're not going to do all that right at the time.
Yeah, I wouldn't just then just close the book on it.
Yeah.
Keep coming back at me, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when I am coming up behind the car, yeah.
Yeah. Right, so here's an opportunity here for us. We're coming up behind a car. So you can pick out a lamppost or something that's very visible for you.
Oh yeah, lamppost there, yeah.
Yep, so you can count out.
Only a full breaks 2 seconds.
Yeah, only a full breaks the 2-second rule.
And we're going to turn left in here.
And we'll turn left here. So traffic lights and things like that are a good place for you to begin your counting.
All right.
1001, 2002, just to make sure we're not getting too close. What would be the consequence, do you think, of being too close? What could happen?
Well, I suppose if they stopped, I'd have to brake really hard, wouldn't I?
Yeah, you would. And you might not have enough time to stop.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so you might end up running into the back of them. Yeah. So we're probably going to have to stop behind these cars as we approach the roundabout. We've got a crossing in this instance anyway. But obviously, we always want to make sure we can see the people's tyres touch the ground.
Oh, just the tyres, okay, right. So I can see his tyres.
Yep.
I can still see his tyres.
So you're going to come to a stop now.
I
So
can
you need
still
to.
see his tyres.
Yeah.
I can still see his tyres.
Can you see them touch the ground?
Yeah?
Yeah. So can I.
Yeah, I think what you're probably looking at is for me to see tyre and tarmac.
Right. Not touch
So-
the ground. Okay.
Yeah, I need to be able to see tyres and I need to be able to see a bit of tarmac.
Okay.
And obviously you need to look at different type of vehicles. On a bus,
Yeah.
it's going to be the rear end of the bus and tarmac because the tyres are
Too far away. Yeah.
too far forward, yeah?
Yeah.
So is this important, this tyres and tarmac thingy that you're teaching me?
Well, it is important because if we stop too close to the vehicle
So,
ahead,
tyres and...
tarmac, so make sure we can see
Send me
both.
on the stop.
Yeah, how's that? Can we maybe go a little bit closer?
You want me to?
Next, don't have to do it this time, but next time we'll go a little bit closer than that.
I can see tyres and tarmac.
Yeah. Do you think that's a good distance, just coming out of roll for a
I think
second?
so, yeah.
Okay, so you wouldn't go any closer.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm keeping tyres and tarmac, but I'm sure you'll tell me.
So, can you think of any reasons why it's important not to stop too close to the vehicle ahead? What might you have to be able to do that you'd be prevented from doing if you were too close?
I'll tell you what did happen on a listen a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
I had a police car come up behind me,
Yeah.
and he couldn't get past.
Mm.
And I was a bit close to the vehicle in front. I was out with my brother,
Yeah.
and my brother said, move over to the left a bit, but I didn't have room to move over.
Yeah. So there was one reason. That's pretty important, isn't it? To
Yeah,
you know, when emergency vehicles are trying to get somewhere quickly,
yeah.
you know, it's very helpful if we can get out of the way for them. And just give them, you know, sometimes it's just that extra inch of room they need to get past and get out. And you know, that's a good reason why to always keep that distance. So just tyres on the and the tarmac.
Tyres and tarmac.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I have plenty of room now to
Yeah.
move
That's
to the
good.
left, wouldn't
That's
I?
perfect. Yeah.
I suppose if they broke down, I'd have room to go around them as well, wouldn't I?
Well, you would. I mean, imagine if you're too close and for some reason they're not moving,
Yeah.
and you thought they were going to keep going, you'd have to reverse, and then you'd have to try and move around.
Yeah, I can't reverse because that bloke behind me is not.
Yeah, exactly.
He's right in my bumper, isn't he?
Yep. So he's obviously stopped too close to you.
Right,
Yeah.
that makes sense. It's a bit like being in a sandwich, isn't it?
Yeah. With buses, it's a bit different. Obviously, you can see with the bus there, the back tyre is quite far up the actual body of the bus.
All right, yeah.
Yeah. So if we needed to be able to see that bus's tyres and the tarmac, we'd be stopping way, way behind the bus. There'd be a huge amount of room there. Okay. So we'd be stopping too far away. So with the buses, we want to be able to see some tarmac and the back of the bus.
All right,
Yeah. So look, it's all going to be a little bit different with different vehicles.
Yeah.
But as a general rule for the cars,
I suppose buses and lorries are the same, aren't they?
yeah, exactly. So your bigger vehicles like that,
Yeah.
you know, and you know the reasons why it's important that we leave that gap. So if you need to be able to move, you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
So make sure you can always move depending on depending on the vehicle in front of
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, so that was. Sorry, I made a bollocks down. Excuse my French. I had to go close there, clear the crossing. Yeah, that was a driver error on my part.
Oh, some police cars coming, Tony.
It's all right. I haven't actually stopped on the crossing. Yeah, so that was really good detail there. Yeah.
Okay.
So you saw the bus come out and you got in there straight away and nailed it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I've just got to be a little bit more confident.
Yeah.
For that the information that's
Yeah.
in my head.
Yeah.
You know what? If it's wrong, I'm better to do that with you
Yeah.
than do it any other
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
Well, if the information's not coming out,
It's probably just as bad as.
well, I'll actually push you to get it out.
Yeah.
And then if you just say, well, I don't know what information you want, or I don't know how to word the information, or
Yeah.
I don't know what information is appropriate, then it's best just to bite the bullet and tell me, innit?
Yeah, of
And
course,
then
yeah.
Then I
I'll
can
do
help you,
that.
innit? But when you feel you know it, just let it come out, and if
Yeah.
it's right, I'll tell you. If you're 90% sure that you're right, you probably are right.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
And we're going to turn left.
And we'll turn left here, please, Tony.
So what am I anticipating here?
Pedestrians.
No,
Crossing.
No, that was a question you should have asked me. Yeah?
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
How far back are you going to stop?
How far back are you going to stop this
Oh,
time?
I've got
now?
to see the back of that bus and a bit of tarmac. haven't I?
Yeah. Yep, that feels pretty good.
Yeah.
So if you needed to get around the bus now for whatever reason, or move out the way of an emergency vehicle, you'd be able to do so.
All right. Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of pedestrian activity around here. So what's one of the things you might be looking out for as we kind of proceed through?
Pedestrians crossing the road.
Yeah. And sometimes you can get good body language from people about what they're doing. because obviously people don't have indicators like cars.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know, if people are stopping and looking, or looking at you, or they're changing directions towards the curb, you know, you can anticipate they might be looking to cross the road.
Must be like when I took my hazard perception test,
Yeah.
which I passed.
Excellent.
I failed the questions then. But hey ho, I'll take it again. And we're going to take the next turning to the left, please.
I will take the next turning to the left, please.
Are you anticipating around this corner?
What might you be anticipating around the corner?
It could be pedestrians crossing the road.
Yeah, there could be. There's one for you. Just there on our left.
Yeah.
She was looking to cross.
No, she's a bit after me, don't you?
What should we do? If we're driving down the road, someone just walks out in front, what should we do? What would you do?
I can't run him over, so I have to stop them.
Yeah, you got to let them go.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would you make do? What would you do? You think you'd do before you do anything?
I'll check the mirror.
Yeah. Check the mirrors.
Yeah.
Make sure there's no one flying up behind you.
Yeah.
If there was someone coming up really quickly behind you and there was a pedestrian walking out ahead, what do you think you'd do?
I'd have to slow down a bit earlier, wouldn't I?
Yeah. Get the brake lights on, slow down earlier, so the person behind knows that you're stopping. Yeah.
Oh, right, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Because it's going to stop someone running up behind you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose they could push me onto the pedestrian, that would stop her, couldn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. That is even worse. Yeah.
At the roundabouts, we're going to turn right at the first one and straight onto the second one.
Right at the first roundabout, please, Tony, and then straight on at the next. You know, spending a lot of time in other countries, you realise how much England likes its roundabouts.
Yeah.
Never seen so many. So you're looking forward to doing your test?
Yeah, I got past theory first, haven't I?
Of course you do.
Take it again on Monday. And we're going to turn right.
We'll take the next right, please. So you're checking your reference point as we progress past these cars now? How much space are you giving yourself?
Oh, a metre.
Yeah, and why are we doing the meter?
In case somebody opens the door or...
Yeah.
I'm looking underneath those cars for those kiddies as well.
Yeah, exactly. And what if a huge, really wide vehicle came up and we couldn't have the whole meter width? Like this truck now. Imagine there's one coming the other way and we couldn't have the whole meter width.
Well, I probably wouldn't have room to go through, would I?
Well, what if you did have room but you had to go closer than a meter?
I'll go slow, wouldn't I?
Yeah, and why would you go slow?
So I can stop.
What would you be stopping for, maybe?
For the door opening, or
Yeah.
if a kiddie walks out, I can stop
Yeah,
there.
yeah, that's exactly right. And it was great that you picked up that you're looking under the cars for the kiddies' feet or the football rolling out.
Yeah.
You know, because they're the really good anticipation signs we've got that something's going to happen. You know, it's things like that will save kids' lives. I think you've got this stopping distance down really well now from the cars in front.
Oh, the
Yeah.
time.